crazy last names like Sassano. Hello, ladies. This podcast is designed exclusively for you. This is her talk show where we dive into inspiring thoughts, ideas, and stories, all with one purpose: to empower and uplift women like you. I am Sabrina Victoria, your host and guide on this journey of self-discovery and growth. I invite you to hit that subscribe button, follow, like, and share. Together, we are creating a vibrant community of empowered women. Get ready to unleash your brilliance. Her talk show starts now.
We come to you every day with the best speakers, relationship coaches, spiritual mentors, trailblazers, business owners, authors, young hustlers, podcasters, entrepreneurs, fitness trainers, therapists, financial advisors, and more. We ask our guests one question: what do you know that I don't know? Get ready, because today's guest is about to change the way you view your world. This is Her Talk Show, hosted by Sabrina Victoria.
Today for this episode of Her Talk Show, we have had over 500 women grace this stage, and we are adding another one to the list today. If you are listening live, welcome. And if you're listening on the replay, make sure you hashtag replay wherever you're at in the comments so we can send you some love. Either way, if you are watching this video, please share it wherever you're at so we can get more eyes and more ears on the awesome content that we are about to share today. Today, we're talking to an amazing woman with 27 years of corporate management experience in human resources. Wow, this is a pivot. A multifaceted background. Diane is a skilled life coach, NLP practitioner, hypnotherapist, and energy healer. What? Passionate about personal development, she blends her expertise to guide individuals towards transformation and success. A versatile writer for, did I say that right? For Sybil Magazine, Diane shares quality information and insights, empowering readers to lead fulfilling and purpose-driven lives. Girl, what a crazy pivot. 27 years in corporate to energy healer.
Yeah. Well,
wow.
First, thanks for having me on. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for being here. I appreciate you and all that you're doing for the world. I do want to ask, Sybil Magazine, what is this?
It's all about basically holistic healers like myself. I was born actually an energy healer, a medium, and a psychic. Oh. And yeah, she just found me one day. She was on Facebook and she loved my post, and she's actually an ordained minister, and she started a magazine like 20 years ago. And she asked me if I would come on and be a contributing writer for her magazine, and I said absolutely. So I write about the things I know, and I send it out into the world with all the positive energy, and people read it and reach out. How do I work with you? How do I change my mindset? Heal me, please. So that's kind of like, it's really cool magazine.
Wow, that is awesome. Well, I'm super excited to dive into this. Before we dive in, is there a way to move your camera down a little bit?
Sure.
So that we're a little more... So we're talking about science and metaphysical healing today.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we talking about this today? Tell us, what is so amazing about this topic?
Okay. It's usually because of the Western medicine, where basically, I guess I want to say brainwashed into just medical science in the world. But before this medical science came to be about, there was holistic medicine, and which was of the herbs, of the earth, of nature. And now the bridge to both of these are actually combining. There's a bridge, which is so beautiful. Being a healer, I am working in this field all my life. And then actually, as I got older, I actually understood what it was I did. I actually work and talk with doctors, with people that, are in pain clinics and things like that. And they're so more accepting of what we do as like naturalists, I guess, for a lack of a better word, that they welcome it because of the rampant overdoses and, you know, like the oxycodone and things like that, that it's so rampant. It's horrible. And they don't know what to do in, you know, the doctors in the world to stop people overdosing, people dying, you know, all this. So yeah, and I got into that because of my doctor, because she knew what I was. And so she says, we need you to go work in the pain clinic. Or she goes, just go introduce yourself. So she did. She took me down there and she introduced me to the pain clinic doctor. And she says, no, you just got to watch and see what she can do. And he says, oh, come on, you know, I don't believe in this. But that started my journey in that. And the bridging of this is what I've seen where I go around and speak, is that we're so more welcomed into this now world here in the present. I call this the physical plane, where they actually don't criticize you. You're more welcome to come in to show what you can do, you know, because they're still skeptical because they believe that that's what they were taught, you know, medical books, you know, that's what we know. That's what we see. But now the doctors, it's like so cool talking to these doctors. Like, yeah, come on in. Let me see what you can do. So that's kind of cool.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So can you talk to us about, you know, most people understand the science, right? Like, you know, experimentation, medication, like strict, just factual numbers and stuff. And what you're bringing to the equation is more mindfulness, meditation, energy healing. Can you explain to us what is energy healing? Like, what does that mean?
Okay, we all have what they call chi, which is our natural energy. We all have energy. We all are energy. So anything that happens, you know how you get EKG, right?
Yes.
We'll use that. Okay, an EKG. That's actually measuring the energy that's in your heart space, right? That's energy. Your whole, you know, because when the physical body dies, this dies, but your energy doesn't die. That's why when you walk and you get like the static, you know, you get like a little electrocuted. So I actually work with those energies. Like I can actually feel your energy. And I can know if there's parts of your body that aren't well, by your energy could be stagnant. If your energy is not well, it has a different, to me, how I do it. Everybody's different, but how I feel it is that if I'm scanning your body, I start at your head and I go all the way down, and I can feel where there's like, I feel like it's a block or it's really dense. And I know that your energy is not flowing. And then I just help you to, I actually have quantum energy, they call it, where I actually can remove that energy out of your body and just replace it with clean energy. So I kind of like wash you out.
Wow. So you're likening this to energy, like static electricity energy. That is interesting. How are we sparking that?
You have natural, it's called, well, they call it chi. Everybody has a natural energy in their body. I mean, you can feel your energy when, if you learn to tune into who you are in your body and how it feels, that's actually the energy, your chakras in your body that are giving off, I call it like little signals.
Yeah.
So you know how when you walk into a room and you can feel like a part of a room feels good and another part maybe doesn't feel good, and you tend to go towards the side and you don't know why sometimes you're going towards the side that feels good. That's actually your body, the energy is hitting your body and what feels in alignment with you. And you'll always go towards where it doesn't feel good, or does feel good, excuse me.
So when I see stuff like the vibration, I'll be like, the vibe I didn't appreciate the vibe or the vibrations of that person or that area or that thing. Yeah. That's kind of what you're speaking of. Like,
yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it exactly. Because everybody gives off a certain life force, and the life force is energy. So that actually is what is transmitted to you, is when you know how you say when someone's in my space and you can feel them in your space, that's that's your energy that surrounds you. That's what is, leaving and coming into your body.
Okay, that definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
So, when did you realize the thought process of science and metaphysical healing can be combined? What is your personal story in that?
Oh, okay. Okay, well, I'll try and go fast because it's a long one. When I was 4.5, I knew that I was different because I also have the ability to speak with people that have passed. So I knew this when I was younger, but I didn't have the extent of what I have now. So it just grew with time. But anyway, when I was 4.5, my parents told me, because they see me all the time talking, they told me I couldn't do this because I was going to school in September. So, no talking about that. So as they did that, they were shutting me down. And in doing that, I stopped eating, and they thought, oh God, here's my 4.5-year-old. So they take me to my pediatrician in New York. I don't know if I should say the hospital, Kings County Hospital. I remember the doctor. And they told him what was happening to me. And he said, well, she sounds like she's clinically depressed. And my parents said, she's only 4.5. How could she be clinically depressed? And he says, well, these are the symptoms and this is what she is. And he says, but there's no medication to give a 4.5-year-old. So let's give her electric shock treatment.
Are you serious? At
God is
4.5?
Mm-hmm. So he actually, I died twice, but I'm still here. So thank God. So in him doing that to me, right, which I didn't know, there was like a blank look for 7 years of my life that I was not shown this till later on. And anyway, by him doing that, he just made my gifts like really explode. So that was like my first really big awakening I had. And when they had me in the room, because back then, okay, I'm 64. Back then, you were in a ward. You didn't have like rooms like you have now. So there was a bed next to me, and there's a little girl, and she was older than me. I'd say she's about 12, crying all the time. So my mother used to bring me those big lollipops. So I went over there and I used to put, one on her bedstand, and I'd say, don't cry. And then the nurses used to tell me, Diane, get back in the bed. What are you doing out of bed? I'm going, but Catherine's always crying. Nobody ever comes and see her. And they would look at me like, what are you talking about? Get back in the bed. And the doctor would come in and they would see them talking and stuff like that. But there was a Catherine in the bed laying next to me, but they didn't see her, but I did. And that is what exposed me to me actually physically now seeing people that were passed. I used to feel them and hear them, but I never saw them. And that was like the jumping point when I knew you just know if people are gifted, right? You just have this maturity or this knowing within you that it's hard to explain. You have this in you that you just know that that's the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do, or just when to be quiet. And that's what I learned from that experience. And as I grew, people always gravitated towards me, always wanted to hug me or hold me. And then I realized, that was when I started feeling people when they were sick and stuff like that. And when I was about 17 is when I finally realized that I was full blown, healer, medium, because I still do. I feel the pain in the world. It makes me sick sometimes, but I do. And so as I got older and got into my 20s and started getting mentors, because I really didn't know the extent or what it was that I had, then that's when I started learning about, the metaphysical with the science and how important it was that they bridge, because emotionally, mentally, and physically, the whole body has to be treated. You can't just go in and treat a physical ailment. You can't just go in and treat a mental or emotional ailment, because every part of you is connected. And I learned that doing this work over these 40 something years now, that if you're going to treat the emotions of a person, you have to treat the whole being, the emotional, mental, physical, and the soul of a person, because every facet is connected and every part is important. And when I started speaking with, physicians and doctors and stuff like that, I says, well, if you're going in there and they say, okay, well, tell me what's wrong with you. And you say, oh, I have a cough. So they just go in and treat the cough. But if you have a cough, any physical ailment that you have is from an emotional issue that you had, or from a trauma that you had, or something that an issue or something that happened to you. And so if you just, you constantly will have a cough if you don't treat what caused that cough. So that's the root. And this is where, when I was talking to doctors, well, if you're giving them medicine for a cough and the cough isn't going away, then there's got to be something underlying that's causing, then they'd send you for a million kinds of tests and they couldn't find anything. Well, sure, you can't find anything because it's coming from, well, maybe that person is coughing. Because to me, the throat chakra, when you speak, if you're having issues with your throat, that means that you can't speak your truth, or someone stopped you from speaking. So either people, that come to me, they can't speak, they have a fear of speaking on stage, they have a fear of presenting. And they said, they literally tell me that they get laryngitis, they get a cough, they lose their voice, all this. So I know that in getting to the root, I'll timeline them or I'll regress them to actually when this started. And then you'll find out sometimes it happened when they were in school, and they were just an excited person. They used to not raise their hand and just speak up. And then the teacher would say, shut up, or don't say anything, or be quiet. So that's like a trauma too. You can't heal it if you're 40 years old and it happened to you when you were 5 or 6. So you have to go back to that point where that person received, those words, or, it hit them. And that's how I find out. And that's where we learned, with the doctors, that it's so critical that, healers or the metaphysical combine and bridge it with medical science, because you can't just treat one thing. You have to treat the whole person. That's why we have an epidemic of illness in this world. You go to a psychiatrist, yeah, but it's just talking, but you have to be able to get to the root of what the problem is that a person, is suffering from, because the pain, the anxiety, the panic is just the manifestation of what happened to them in their emotional or mental state. And then you have to go back to the age and you have to heal it, and you heal it out of them.
With all of this goodness that you're speaking, how did you navigate 27 years in corporate? What did that look like for you? Because I feel like there would have been some serious cognitive dissonance in like who you were in that arena versus who you were supposed to be or who you are now. So how do you navigate that?
Well, that was a big thing, because most of my life I knew to keep my mouth closed and just be invisible and just like do work behind the scenes. Yeah. So, dealing, with the people issue, because they really didn't, when I went in there for a job, it wasn't the job that I got. They put me in because they saw how well I did with people. So they claimed me as HR, but I wasn't HR. I would be sent all over the country to wherever they had people issues, because they said, oh my God, how could this person, she's so good with people and she knows exactly what's wrong with them, and she gets exactly to the point. Wow. She knows that they don't belong in that position, and she helps us and we put them in another position. Wow, she's saving us money from bringing more people in and having to retrain people or hire people, fire people. So of course, I was like the big ticket item that, they would save millions and millions of dollars a year and having to hire people. But that's how I did it. I would just stay behind the scenes, and I never told them, that I could read people, or that, if someone sits in front of me, I know exactly what they feel.
Wow.
But it was great because I also was able to, because I love people, obviously, and I also was able to connect with people and help them keep their jobs. If it was just, a misplacement, if they weren't in the right position, maybe that wasn't a good position for them. And, I'd be able to feel that they'd be happier, like say if they were working in, with paperwork and that wasn't their thing, but, they were hired for that position, but they really wanted to work maybe, in events or something like that. And I would say, hey, let's move this person to events and let's see how, how they, if they can possibly, fit into there and grow. And they did. And that was like the secret weapon, as they used to call me.
Wow. So then what was your transition? What did it look like from, moving into like, hey, this is me and this is actually what I do. I am an energy healer. And you actually speaking that truth into the world the way you do now.
Oh, wow. That was, let me see, I was married for 36 years and my last awakening came after my husband passed away. And that was in 2013. And that was like the big, like, to your knees, Jesus Christ, I'm here. I'll do whatever you say,
Wow.
but I would do it, but, but I would never like now, like come on here and say, hey, I'm an energy healer. And I just learned that after I had that awakening, it was like, okay, you need to step into your total truth, even though you're doing it behind the scenes. The world needs you. You need to be out there. You need to start speaking out. You need to start helping, and you need to take your place, because this is much bigger than you are.
Yeah.
And I just had to do it.
Yeah. What are some of the biggest things that you're finding as far as humans and them being on their healing journey? What are maybe a couple of steps or some tools that you could provide us, speaking directly to people who maybe don't know anything but are intrigued? We have a ton of people watching live right now.
Okay.
So to those that maybe they're like, Diane, this sounds sus, a little suspicious, but I'm open to it. What's some couple of first steps that somebody could do to kind of get their toes wet in this arena?
As me healing them, or them as going into learning
As
how to heal
being
themselves?
healed,
Okay.
healing
Uh,
themselves.
Yeah, I'm like one of those people you have to experience. That's what everybody says. Okay, what I say when I first meet somebody, whether it's somebody in business, a professional, a CEO, or I kind of don't let that part of me out. I kind of like feel my way into there to see how open they are with that. You have to understand that the simplest way I can explain this is that we're all energy, right? We all have mindsets. We all have these beliefs, and I tell you, if you believe in God or whomever you believe in, I don't know who you believe in, you can't see it, but it's there,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So it's kind of like the same thing. And when you have a true full-blown experience with me, you have to feel it. It's really hard to explain. There's not a way to explain how I can explain this to you. I can literally physically heal something in you. I can take you on a journey. I can feel the deepest pain that you feel in you that you don't even know what it is. And because I don't believe in giving you the answers, but I walk with you on that journey so you can have that journey, because you heal yourself as an individual. We all do, because we all have the ability to heal ourselves. Our bodies can heal ourselves. It's just, I can amp up the healing in you. It's like I'm a conduit. And just like people, if they meditate, that's a good way to do it. If people meditate, right, they go into this state of absolute tranquility, ease, and everything is flowing in them. And if you can allow your body to stay in that state for like a good 15 minutes, and I know a lot of people can't, but if you can just like be still and just be mindful, you actually can start the regeneration process in your body. And you can feel it, because you'll feel different parts of your body get hot. See, when I'm all red now, because there's people that I'm actually healing as I'm talking. It's just automatic with me. But it's like you go into a homeostasis, and that's your body starts the healing process when you can just let it be and allow your body to do what it was meant to do. You don't have to force anything. So I don't know how to explain it. It's really hard to explain how you heal. I don't know. I just do it. It helps people. I don't care. That's what I say. But yeah, but
What
everybody can heal themselves.
what do people get? So somebody sits down with you. What can they expect to feel? What's the transition? What's the point? Why would anybody do this? What are you giving to them?
Okay. I am helping them heal any trauma that they had that's preventing them from moving forward in their life. I literally help them heal any physical ailments that have been manifested from this trauma. Most people stay in a comfort zone of anger, anxiety, panic today. That's where everybody's comfort zone is. I can literally help that, I can literally just take it away. And once that trigger that they're having is triggered, it will take us back to when it started. So we clear that, heal it, and it's gone, and they don't have to face it again. The alignment, if something is a pattern in your life, that is a trigger to your life, that's something that happened to you that needs to be healed. So what I do for them is that I go to the root, I remove it with them. It's healed. We go clean the timeline from their past all the way to their future. So this way the energy is not transferred or sent down the timeline to their kids, their future grandchildren, and so on and so forth, because energy travels on the timeline. And whatever your ancestors had, which I clear your ancestry, your generational, your past lives, we heal all that. Wherever it takes us, that's what I heal all the way up. So they feel flowing, they feel lighter. They don't have brain fog anymore. They feel confident. They have this new sense of self. It's like a big internal shift that they feel that they haven't felt. Yeah, it's really great. I can't hear you.
What can somebody expect as far as, I think humans in general, we deal with a lack of confidence, limited beliefs. How can sitting down with someone like yourself and getting some relief of past traumas, how can that help us with our limiting beliefs and our confidence?
Oh, amazing. You'll actually be two different people. Once you heal the limiting beliefs that were impacted on you when you were young, they're not yours. That's why people today have that internal fight with themselves constantly, because that's not in alignment with them. Those beliefs that you were taught when you were young in the environment or your past life don't belong to you. That's the struggle that people have today, with the saying that, these things don't feel good and you don't know why they don't feel good, or you have this anger in you and you don't know why you're angry. When we regress on the timeline, wherever it is, you can feel, and that is healed, and we take it away. You actually, you don't, those issues won't come up anymore. You're not triggered anymore. They're completely gone. And it really does. It shifts. I have clients, I tell you, that make me laugh. I'll tell you this. I had a client and she couldn't get in the car, right, and put the heat full blast. You dressed up for the winter. She lives in Australia, dressed up for the winter. They're all bundled up like we are, in New York. And she says, every time I feel like I'm suffocating, and she rolls the windows down, starts pulling off the scarves and everything. And this is for 40 something years. She was dealing with this. So she came to me because she was suffering from anxiety and panic and all that. And she wanted to clear her timeline. So we did that. But this kept coming up. And I says, okay. I said, well, Andrea says, let's go to it and find out where this is and why you're having this issue. So we did. And it ended up taking us back to 4 lifetimes in her past life, 4 lifetimes ago, where she actually was in this space. It was, she was in the cabin with her parents, were in the loft. She was 4 years old and there was a fire. So she couldn't get to her parents. She had to, she left the house and all this. So she had the guilt, she had the fire, which was the heat and the suffocation to her. So we had to work through all that. And, we brought her parents in so she could talk to her parents and relieve the guilt that she felt that she lived and her parents didn't at that time. And we cleared all that up. And then, of course, I have to test. So I made her the next day get in the car. And, her daughter had to, video her. I says, and as she's in the car, you have to video her. And she did. And she did. And she was fine. The heat was blasting and all that was gone. But that's what happens with a trapped emotion. It can travel imagine 4 lifetimes ago that she could not take the heat. She would literally feel she was suffocating. So that was the time when she was in the cabin and it was on fire. She was literally suffering from the fire and also the guilt that was associated to her parents. So we cleared all that and she was fine. I
Wow.
know it sounds like fantastical, but yeah, but it's true.
Wow. And is this a similar experience with physical ailments?
Yes.
And when you're saying physical ailments, is this like broken legs? Or is this like I get headaches all the time or stomach aches all the time?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but I can, anything that's emotionally caused that manifests in your body, I can heal. Anything, cancer, MS, autoimmune diseases, anything like that is caused by an emotional block, something that emotionally was released on you. So when your emotions can't handle it, it goes into your body and you physically start manifesting, disease, illness, things like this. I have a client that has lupus or had lupus, and and she's been in regression. I've been with her for a year now. Her name is Pat. And when she became my client was a year ago because she was bedridden. She was in a car crash. And with the lupus and everything that she had, she was literally in bed. And she also had a mastectomy. She had cancer. So all these things added up to all the things through her life. So we had to do, but the biggest thing was to get her out of bed. So I did a healing on her in one of my masterminds. I kept just coming back to her. So I said, dear God, whatever I say. And I say, this woman needs my help. So I did. I literally healed her. And 2 days later, her sister called me, Val, and she says, she's hysterical crying on the phone. And I'm like, oh my God, what happened? No, I said, what happened? She goes, Pat's up. She's walking. I said, that's fantastic. I said, you scared me to death. I didn't know what happened. Yeah. And ever since then, she's been my client and she's 68 years old. Yeah, 68 years old. And we've gone back and healed all the issues that she had from what she felt as a child all the way up to these years, her anger, with her family and how she felt that she wasn't loved or wanted and things like that. And that caused a lot of the anger and resentment and, horrible feelings and pain that you carry within you that you don't realize creates illness in your body. And blessed to God and all in the universe, and we healed her lupus. She hasn't had a lupus attack, and it's a year now, a little over a year. And she walks and she's driving and she's in her garden. So it's like amazing. Yeah. Still can't hear you.
That is absolutely fantastic. What cool testaments.
Yeah. And they're on my website. I mean, they're in my Facebook page. Yeah.
Wow.
And it's not even that. It's just like, just to know that, I know this is so much bigger than me, and it's not me. I'm just the conduit, but it's a big responsibility and I don't take it lightly.
Yeah.
And I understand that, I understand that. I think I understand that in the last 20 years, that it's not, like I'm not like a what do you call it? A side joke or, like, let's see the mat, I'm not that because I don't perform to things like that. I don't do things like that. I know that, just like, a policeman or somebody, out there, a doctor, you're given a responsibility, and that's a huge responsibility with people's lives. And I don't take that lightly. And, if I can't help somebody, I try my damnedest to help people, but if I can't help someone, I always will find somebody to help them, because sometimes people just aren't open to it, and that's okay. But, it's a huge integrity with me with this.
Yeah. What's been your biggest takeaway stepping into this field? What do you wish people knew about this?
Is that you don't have to walk around in pain, that you don't have to think that you have to hold the past within you, that it's not healable, because it absolutely is. Absolutely is. I think people then go into this different phase and they become so ill and then they don't know how to get out of it. Then they've caused so many illnesses in them. Then sometimes, it's really hard to help people that have gone past that, or, when they're dealing with all this pain, then they become addicted to drugs, or, I've dealt with people that were near suicide. It's hard to me even to talk about that, just like breaks my heart, because I've dealt with that and I can feel the pain in people. And I just, for their sake, to know that whatever you're dealing with is healable. It is healable. One way or another, it's healable. And you have to believe that you're worth it. That you're meant to live this life full of joy. You're not meant to come into this life and having to, live with pain every single day of your life, mental, emotionally, or physically. It's just, life is beautiful. And that's, my gosh, just look at nature. If nature isn't the truth of what should reflect back to you how you should be, I don't know what is.
Good point. Yeah, definitely a good point. We have a ton of people watching live. Thank you so much for being here and for hanging out with us. Diane, we're getting a really good feel for what you do. However, for those that are listening and actually kind of intrigued and thinking to themselves, maybe I should reach out to this energy healer. Who exactly do you help? Who should be reaching out to you?
Energy healing, anybody.
Okay.
But yeah, in my coaching, I do obviously the healing also. I do work primarily with professional women that are transitioning, that have trauma, toxicity in their lives, or they're just looking for that shift, or, they just leaving a divorce, or a relationship. That's what I see mostly now that women are going through, is like these transitions in lives. And I feel a lot of pain from that, because either their children left and they're home alone, or, they're a widow or widower, or they're transitioning to a new job, and that may sound silly to some people, but when you transition, when you have a job and you're transitioning maybe out of that job into a new job, that's a lot of fear there, like uncertainties and stuff like that. So I work with people that, are doing that, or I work, with my coaching, my NLP, hypnotherapy and stuff like that. But I do the healing in that also. Strictly healing, anybody. I don't read the future. Sorry, people. I don't, even though I can see it. I think it's disempowering for me to tell you that, 3 weeks from now, you're going to win the lotto. What if you don't go buy a ticket? I think it's disempowering, and for anybody to tell anybody's future. So I don't use it, even though I can see it. I just integrity for me. I just don't do that for people, because we all have free will. But yeah,
that's interesting. Where can people find you? We have your website, thehealinghome.us.com. It's also in a clickable link in the description. Anywhere else people can find you? What social media do you hang out at the most?
I am on Facebook. I also have a women's group called Evolving Women on Facebook, which is invite. It's a private group, because obviously I have only women in there, and we talk about a whole bunch of, private things in there that they don't want out on social media. I also have Evolving Men, and then I have my Psychic Medium Facebook page.
Awesome. And why do you do what you do?
I love it. How can you not, when I've been blessed with so much in my life, right? Okay, short. I'll tell you why quickly. Why I stay with this, because I had a chance to not do it anymore, because I do help law enforcement find missing kids or people or whatever. When I was, after my second son, so she would have been 36 this October, she would have been 36. I lost my daughter 6 months, and I didn't get to bond with her. I was almost 7 months pregnant, and I lost her. And I didn't get to see her. I didn't get to bond with her. So in one of my rants, I said, God, I'm not doing this anymore. I swear to God, I don't know why, you took my daughter. I'm just like, I don't want to talk about it. So I had a vision, and I had this beautiful experience. And I got to, in that vision, I got to bond with my daughter. And I got to see her and have that moment with her. And then when I came out of that vision, I said, oh my God, you gave me something that I so needed for, for 30 years to bond with the child. I said, so you gave me something. How do you not want to help when you know what he can do and what he can do through you?
No.
And how could I can't say no. How can I not? Not when my whole life you put people on my path and I can help them, because I don't advertise. So, I don't run nothing. People show up on their journey and we just meet each other. And that's the person that I'm supposed to help. That's the way it's always been my whole life.
Wow.
Yeah, so beautiful. I feel very blessed, and I'm so grateful that I can do that for people. It'd be like telling a doctor not to save somebody that was dying in front of them.
Yeah. Yeah. For those of you, thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Touching story. For those of you listening live, resonating with Diane, all the goodness that she shared today, make sure to take a look at her website, thehealinghome.us.com. Where do you hang out on social media the most?
My Facebook group is there, Evolving Woman, and I go and I put posts in there every day. I put a lot of tools and tips in Evolving Woman to help them. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. We love to connect people here on this platform in order to make sure that we continue to rise. Any closing thoughts, Diane, as we wrap up?
Yes. Just know that whatever you're feeling, because I could feel like a lot of stuff right now, whatever you're feeling, that you're not alone in the world, and that there's always someone that can help you. So don't think that asking for help is a weakness, because that's the strongest pivotal point in your life, is to say that you need help, because we all need help. I mean, I needed help, and I just learned that when you can do that, it truly pivots and shifts your life, just asking for help.
Yeah, definitely something that I have had to learn to do and have learned to love to do.
Yeah, because you not only are you helping yourself, but you're also validating another person, because we are a witness to everybody's life.
Yeah, and it's validating that other person. That other person gets to stand powerfully in their knowledge.
Absolutely.
For sure. Well, this has been absolutely phenomenal. Thank you so much, Diane. Heartfelt gratitude to you for sharing your wisdom, inspiring us all. This brings us to an end of her talk show. Every single one of you listening live on the replay, thank you for staying with us until the very end. Your support and engagement means the world to us. Make sure you follow, like, and share. Once again, my name is Sabrina Victoria. I am the host and also run the amazing community, Her Nation, where we continue to have conversations just like this. As always, do something awesome.